Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So to start, I love mockumentaries as a genre. One of my
Yeah.
favorite shows is Parks and Rec, so I'm instantly like, I get it. What for you is kind of the fun, both the fun and the challenge of doing a mockumentary where you do have those kind of talking head moments?
Okay, glad to hear. I love mockumentaries too. And I do think this one is a different tone than I've ever seen, which is kind of
Mhm.
cool. I feel it's honestly my favorite way to work because it's so much less formal than a normal way of shooting. There's less setups of cameras and lighting. You can catch the cameras in the other cameras because there's supposed to be a camera crew there, the way it's shot, like a documentary. And
Mhm.
so we're able to just be free in the space. I don't have to hit my mark and have blocking really. And so it made me feel much more like a real person, which I think sells the show in general because coming from comedy, you want to really make sure you get as many jokes in as possible and find the funniest joke. But with this, it was more, can we make it feel like a documentary actually? Can we make it feel believable? And then hopefully the reality of the crazy situations are what's funny. It's not just that we're rattling off jokes. And so that's both the challenge and the good thing is it's very free, but it's also um I guess more acting involved, you want it to feel more like a real person.
Well, yeah, and did it help? So, like, obviously, like we said, I was like, comedy came from like a mockumentary stage not that long ago, where there were a boom of them and we loved them a lot. But then on the flip of that, this kind of has the feel of that Michael Jordan documentary that came out not that long ago. But like, if Adam Pally was just kind of messing around with everybody the entire time, and so did you guys have anything like ideas or examples of what you guys were kind of going for when you were working, or were you, like you said, just trying to keep it as honest and authentic so it was funny on the back end?
That I mean, that was really astute. The Michael Jordan documentary was a point of reference for, at least for the documentary we're trying to make within the show.
Hmm.
Um, but it, I think I mean, the creators might have something different to say. They're geniuses and they conceived of this whole crazy world. But I think we all weren't totally sure what the tone was going to be. We were just like, we're going to go dark as hell. We're going to be wildly wacky and we're going to try and make it all feel real and see what happens.
When it works, and did it help you guys? Did it help that you guys have like Steph Curry, who is slowly but surely showing everyone how funny he is through like the little things he's producing and putting out in the world? But did it help having him with, Adam Pally and Ego and you all on the comedy side trying and like carrying that side of things?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, you don't expect Steph Curry to be such a deft comedian, and turns out he's very funny and a very natural actor. So that was amazing. Um, and then yeah, you have this incredible cast like Adam's so funny, Rich Summer who plays Dr. Josh. Like we had so much fun doing crazy scenes together. And then you have like Tien Tran and Blair Beacon who are the documentarians and sound, and every little moment everyone found weird little moments to just make the world so specifically hilarious that it felt like we're just being silly all the time. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and that's what it's weird to say, but it also feels like for a minute there, there weren't like new comedies. There were, but they weren't like this.
Haha.
Yeah, it's
They-
like weird to talk about because
yeah.
they existed, but I'm like, okay, I couldn't recall like two off the top of my head right now. But this does feel like it's kind of back in that sweet spot of like, even though it's streaming, of the like Thursday night comedies that we all used to have. Is that exciting for you as a comedian to kind of have that feel back on a show?
It is because it's that plus real drama, like weight and edge. Like Peacock
Mhm.
really let us go there and get weird with it. It's a pretty weird show that would never live on, in its current form on broadcast, I feel. And so it's cool to be able to do both. And it
Yeah.
just, I think it turned out really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool concept in general, but I do think it's like very fun how you guys approached it when I used to do UCB, so I've seen Adam Pally do improv all the
You get
goddamn time. But how is that like on set? Like how much do you guys get to kind of mess around since it is so kind of dark and weird?
that. Well, Adam is a wild man, and so him and I could just go off into another universe forever. He's so much fun. I always know when we enter a scene, he's just one of my favorite scene partners. I know we're gonna find something and we've got each other's back. And they really let us be free and improvise a ton. But also we didn't need to because the scripts are already so damn funny. They're
Mhm.
so it wasn't, usually you kind of improvise to make it funnier. In this case, it was more just to get us into a zone that felt real, and the jokes were there. And so there's a lot of banter between us that just was off the cuff just to be silly with each other. But the jokes were already written so well.
Well, because that's rare to find. Was that exciting for you when you read those scripts and like had jokes that you were like, I'm fully on board with saying them as they're written?
Crazy. It's almost never happened. I like what I was when I got the script, I was just laughing out loud reading it, and that never happens because when you read a script, it's hard to, you're kind of trying to picture it. But
Mhm.
this one, it was like one of the funniest things I'd ever read, and
Well,
that's rare.
on that same line of thought, was there a joke that you were like, I love this. There's no way they're gonna actually let me put like this is not going in this show, and then it happened.
The I'm gonna strap one on and salt burn your grave not only stayed in the show but made it into the trailer. Okay, Peacock. I mean, props to Peacock. Pretty cool.
I was gonna say another joke that is in the trailer is when they're like, "Oh, I thought you killed yourself," and you're like, "What is going on?"
That's what I mean. They like went for it. They let it get dark. It was cool.
Which is normally it's very funny that it's Peacock because most of the time we see these dark comedies on like FX or these or HBO or stations where you're like you have to pay premium prices for that, not Peacock, an affiliate of NBC. Um, but you are now part of that NBC legacy because as I said earlier, my favorite show is Parks and Rec. There's The Office, there's Good Place, all these shows that we all kind of love. Does that ever like click with you guys on a comedy level that you're like, this is now part of like the NBC comedies?
Crazy. I mean, 30 Rock is one of
Mm-hmm.
my favorites, and Parks and Rec and The Office. Yeah, it feels unreal. It never gets, I mean, you work in entertainment. Does it ever get less weird? It's still weird. Every single thing we do. I'm like, this is so crazy.
Yeah, you couldn't tell me what I'd be doing as a child. Like, that's silly. No. Uh,
Hmm.
you're like, absolutely not. Before our last question, what are you most excited about for not only comedy fans, but just like general audiences to get to see when they see Mr. Throwback?
Well, I'm excited for them to get to see. I know this sounds crazy because the show is so insane, but a little bit more of a grounded side of me, just because because the tone's very grounded. Because I've done a lot of really wild comedies, and so this is a little bit more grounded, and that's fun. But I'm so excited for everyone on the show. So funny, so I'm really excited for people to see it. I hope people see it.
Mm,
There's much out there, but I'm like, people. I think if people watch this, they're gonna love it.
I agree. And I hope they all do because I can't wait to talk to everyone about this. So thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.